Well, today is July the 30th. It's a Monday. My last update was on the 29th. So this is Monday afternoon. This is what the sky looks like today. The air quality is horrible. There's so much smoke and just stuff in the air. Oh my gosh, you guys. We're not going out of the house right now. We're changing the filters on the AC. The air quality is just really bad, but it's nice to see there's no wind. Hey, hush. There's no wind. It's just nice. It's a nice day. The fire is shifting. The containment's going up. So we're just spending a lot of time indoors. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera or not. This is probably the worst air quality we've had. This is 3.5, almost 4 weeks later from the fire. And it's just horrible out there. Like, they consider hazardous starting at 300, and we were at like 400 this morning. So the kids and I took off, did a couple of errands, went to the library, did a couple of things, but we definitely had masks on today. This is getting to be quite a chore keeping 3 kids in the house all the time, but that's just what we got to do to be safe right now. Hey there, you guys. So we are, like I said, 4.5 weeks into this craziness of the Carr fire starting, and I felt like I needed to come on here. I kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update of what's been going on with us. In the interim, I've had homeschooling and back to school videos going on, but behind the scenes there has been still quite a bit happening that I just wanted to share with you, and some resources and links I wanted to get to you guys. So the footage at the very beginning of this video that I'm going to try to include was shot less than a week after the fire moved into town. So it was about a week and a half since the actual start of the fire. And it was footage of, I don't know if you can really see it. I was in my car, and somebody was shooting out of the car window, and so it's all like the community support. And one of the things that happened right after that crazy night was that people started putting signs up all over town. I mean, all over town. There's signs on the freeway, there's signs on the overpasses, there's tons of signs down in the west end of town where our first responders were. From what I've heard down at fire camp, it's crazy. Like, there's not a spot on the fence around the fairgrounds because they are covered. Like, just community support of like, thank you firefighters, thank you first responders, thank you CHP, and it grew. It turned into like, thank you PG&E, thank you city of where we live, because they're restoring the power. And so it was one of those things that I really struggled going down to that part of town, because most of the footage was shot down in the west end of town, and I I had gone to work that day, and I work not that far from where a lot of this happened. So I didn't happen to, my husband was home that day, I didn't happen to have the kids. So I decided I was going to drive down there to where they closed off the road. We still couldn't leave that end of town. It was still heavily evacuated. But I just wanted to drive down there. And it was like my one opportunity to do it without the kids. So it was, I don't want to cry on camera, but I can't even convey to you like how emotionally charged it was, and actually still is, 3.5, almost a month later, how emotionally charged this area is. So, and one of the stories that we heard was that firefighters coming back and just breaking down because of the support and the encouragement. I've heard people say that they've never worked or come to a place that has been so grateful and so supportive and expresses so much gratitude. I've seen just story after story of people delivering meals to firefighters, of you know, people going out with water, people going out, like there was a group from our church that a bunch of them got together, and they, so that the firefighters could rest, they would go pick up their clothes, they would launder them, get them all done, and turn around a couple hours later and drop them back off at for the crews, because then they could rest and not have to worry about getting that kind of stuff done. So it's just been amazing. It's been really crazy to see this community rally around, because I've always felt like this area has the potential to do that, and I've always felt like this is home. But then there are a lot of people that kind of, you know, they don't see this as such a special place as I do, and it's been amazing to see that like really drawn out of people to where they had no choice but to support each other, and no choice but to lean on each other. So it's been really incredible to see that like the potential of what I knew could be there is actually coming out. And yeah, it's just, it's beautiful. It's amazing. One of the stories that we heard was that there was a connection that we were going to be able to get letters and encouragement to the couple whose trailer had a flat tire that kind of spiraled out this event. And just the amount of like messages that poured in on Facebook. There was over 100 cards, like handwritten cards. Nobody writes a handwritten card anymore. Over 100 cards. There was counseling, like free counseling that was offered to this couple. There was flowers that were sent, and we were talking like, I can't give you a lot of details, but we were talking about a couple that you could say, well, get out there and do something. And we're talking about a couple that is not even really capable of going out and being part of the recovery process. So to see that like they had absolutely nothing to offer but their tears and their plea for forgiveness, and people like rally around them. I have yet to drive down into any of those neighborhoods. They're not typically neighborhoods that I would drive around in anyway, just because of the part of town they're in. They're actually not far from my work, but it's not neighborhoods I would go in and out of a lot of anyway. However, I've kind of shied away from that part of town because of, I don't know how I'm going to react when I get there. And I don't want my kids to be there with me the first time. And my kids are with me all the time. So I feel it's important to make my way there at some point. From what I've heard, like photos and video just don't do it justice. I mean, we're talking whole neighborhoods and then a random house, and just no rhyme or reason to what happened. There's been a lot of amazing heroes that have come out of this town in this time. We've lost some people and some really tragic stories. Some firefighters that have been killed, an older woman and her grandkids that were killed. and like I said, it's just, you ride this wave, whether you were directly affected or not. It's a small enough town that you ride this wave of like some really high highs and some really low lows. I got on Facebook one night, and within our homeschool community, I don't know if I shared this before, but there was like 5 or 6 families that I know of that just to the ground, nothing. We have one family from our charter school that I know, they're friends with my son. Nothing. 2 houses, because they had an in-laws quarters just wiped out. Nothing. I've been talking with her, and we've been trying to get some resources to them. But it's just, like I said, some high highs and some low lows. You don't realize like what a tight community and what a small community it is until something like this hits, and you feel so completely helpless because there are people that you care about that are hurting, and there's nothing you can do. Because I mean, there's and looking at the overwhelming response of it, you feel like there's nothing you can do. So it's been an interesting few weeks. We're getting ready to start school here pretty soon, and I just feel like my brain is so not in school mode this year. We took off last weekend. We had a previously planned family get together, and while we were gone last weekend, there was 2 more fires that broke out. One of which I've kind of heard is related to the Carr fire, and so it has gone from Whiskeytown Lake, which is where it started, and it has spread all the way over to Shasta Lake, kind of around the back. So it's like this emotion of, is it ever gonna, when will it end? When will it end? And I feel like things are starting to get back to normal, at least for us. I mean, we still have a house, we still are safe, we still have a place to be. But it's going to take a long time for this community to really get back to quote unquote normal. Although in some ways I think that's a good thing. I think that what has come out of this has just made us stronger, has made us more aware. It's amazing that you can walk into a store now and people don't have their guard up anymore. It's like they're either having a great day or they're having a rotten day, and and people talk to each other, and people look each other in the eye, and people will ask questions. Like, I've seen complete strangers like hugging in a checkout line because of things that have happened, and that doesn't happen. Like, it just doesn't. And so I think it's brought a whole lot of more humanity, humility, compassion to our community than what was there before. I've seen people like just rise up, and things come out of them with compassion and love in ways that I've probably never seen before. So that's kind of where we're at. We are in the midst of just trying to help in any way we can. Whether that's, taking kids school clothes shopping, whether that's, being a listening ear, whether that's, I went and dropped off a couple blankets the other day and talked to another mom, and we just stood there and talked for an hour. And this is somebody I've known for a really long time, but it just had been a long time since we just talked, We didn't talk about anything big or dramatic or the events of what's been happening, but we just talked and looked each other in the eye and took that moment to slow down and say, what's going on with you? Like, So, yeah, it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a long process of recovery. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to make this update as well, is just to say, hey, don't forget us. I know we live in kind of this age where I've even noticed in myself, I kind of feel like I'm going about my day-to-day stuff, and in a way that's healthy, and in another way it's like, but there are still so many people, and I don't want to lose that feeling of community and connectedness. I don't want to start to forget that, because there are still people out there that really, really need that help and really need that comfort. And so I'm going to list below several ways you can support. if you feel like you can. I'm not even saying, you know, if you don't support, you're not a part of this. I'm just saying if you can, if there's any way possible that you can. I'm going to list several links down below if you feel that this is something you want to be a part of and that you can be a part of right now. I know not everybody's capable, so. But that's just kind of where we're at. We're walking around with these masks on our faces because the air quality is horrible. I've never lived anywhere where there's ever been smog, and I can't imagine after this whole experience living somewhere where there's smog, because I really miss my fresh air. My kids kind of look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, go grab a mask, we're going. So I don't know, that's where we are. I just wanted to share kind of what was on my heart, what's going on with us, and just say, please continue to pray. We're doing well. I have a lot of confidence in this community that I've been amazed to see how much everyone has rallied around each other, and I have a lot of confidence that that will continue. But you know, just keep us in your prayers, keep us in your thoughts, and if you get a chance, if you feel like you can, definitely check out those links down below. We'll see you next time. Bye guys.